I'm Tandy Gutierrez, and this is a little impromptu, not so impromptu, M&K Kitchen chat. We're not quite sure what else to call it right now. So I invited, who are now friends of mine, but are members of M&K Kitchen. I'm Tandy, I'm the co-founder, and I'm 37 years old. I have 2 little boys, about to turn 9 and about to turn 5, and if I don't say that, they would freak out. I also have a stepson who's 20, happily married for nearly 10 years now, and M&K Kitchen's been around for 3 years. I wanted to introduce you all to some of our members because I think it's really important to know essentially who you're swimming with. It's an online offering for fitness and wellness, and you're doing these workouts, alone in your house, on your computer, on your iPhone, on your smart pads, on your tablets, but there are people all over the world on the mat working out with you, and so you're gonna meet some of these people, and today you get to meet Sarah and Elizabeth. So Sarah, if you will tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Hi, I'm Sarah. I am 37 years old, so we're the same age. Mm-hmm. And I come from a background of, I was an actress since I was 18, and I retired about 3 years ago, so for a very long time I was doing the acting stuff, and you kind of have to have a certain body type in order to feel like you can get work, or they'll even take real interest in you. I did the LA thing for 5 years. I've been here in Austin trying to do it. I've had some really crazy experiences with it, some not so great experiences with it, with comments that are made because I'm not a size 0. I'm a normal woman with a normal woman's body. I love my curves, but the camera doesn't always love the curves, so that's the part of the problem. Anyway, I've been on the mat with Tandy pretty much since the inception of M&K Kitchen, and even a bit before when we worked together. And so I really love it. I enjoy it, the convenience of it and everything. So that's me.
Cool. And Elizabeth.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth. I'll be 33 this month. I've been on the mat for about a month. I had a baby 4 months ago, and I started working with Tandy on the mat when I was 9 months pregnant, kind of learning some ideas for food and the batch cooking, and I got into the Supermom school, and that kind of launched my time on the mat. And
by the way, I love that you did Supermom school when you were 9 months pregnant. I saw you sign up for it, and I'm like, that's amazing.
Well, I knew this baby was coming. Yeah, so.
Let me check that off my list. It was awesome. So Supermom school is one of the sessions that I teach. That's an email course, essentially, how to get kids to eat more whole real foods and how to batch cook, and just getting you accustomed back into the kitchen. So it really, I thought that was brilliant. How do we get more mommies to do that? Because what a jump start for you, instead of being behind the ball, which I'm gonna say I was behind the ball initially in my personal life, but I loved it that was your first entry point to M&K Kitchen.
It was huge, and it was really helpful. And then since I've had the baby, I've been on the mat a few times a week in the past month or so, once I kind of got my bearings back and got my ducks in a row. So.
And your background is in what?
So, but I had a personal training company before I got pregnant, and I was personal training for a few years. Before that, I mostly managed gyms, so I spent most of my 20s doing that. So I've been in the health and fitness industry since I was about 20, and just in different ways. But personal training was the last thing that I was doing.
Okay, and so this kind of goes into the next question that we talked about, was how you ended up coming to M&K, because I think a lot of people think, and even to me, you're a fitness trainer, you've been in the industry forever, you don't need a teacher, or you don't need something else. And I always throw up the red flag and go, I need a teacher because I'm giving, and I don't want to work for me sometimes. Mm-hmm. And so I like doing supplemental stuff to feed me, or to help me be a better teacher, different cues that I like or don't like. So I think it's interesting to see how you came to M&K, and and why, you know, you're choosing to stick with it, because people will be like, well, you're a trainer, won't you just go back to doing what you were doing?
Well, of course, and I can make my own exercise programs, and I do for when I go to the gym. But what happened for me, I like to keep my workouts pretty diversified, and I don't always want to have to think about my workout, especially right now with the baby. It's like, to plan out a workout just isn't really in the cards. So if I can just go to my living room, hang out on the mat with Tandy, and she tells me what to do, it makes it a lot easier. Because I still love putting together workouts. Like, that's really fun for me. But you kind of get used to the same things over and over again in your head, and you kind of stick to your favorite things. And I need to branch out from that if I'm going to grow. So that was important.
That's good. And then you alluded to it a little bit earlier, like how you came to M&K, and then, you know, why it works for you.
Yeah. So I met Tandy actually at an acting class.
You didn't know that, did you? Clearly, I like to be in front of the camera.
So we met at an acting class together, and I had been doing like these programs like P90X or something like that, or going to the gym and spending hours. When I was in LA, I would go to the gym and I'd spend hours, you know, going on the treadmill and then doing weights and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it was just such a time suck. And then I saw Tandy, and she had mentioned she was a fitness instructor, and I thought, she's actually fit, because there's some fitness instructors that aren't fit, you know, like, I hate saying that, but it's like they don't look like they practice what they preach type of thing. So she does, and so I thought, well, okay, the last person that I had asked in an acting class to train me almost made me throw up during the exercise.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
And yeah, and she was like talking about how she likes Pilates and all that kind of stuff, and I had never really done Pilates before you.
Yeah.
So I asked her if she would train me like once a week and kind of give me some stuff to work on, and we started doing that. And then when she moved back to LA, you were doing like Skype stuff, and then it ended up becoming like the precursor to M&K. So I like to feel like I'm your guinea pig.
Yeah, actually told her. That's funny, because we don't usually tell that story either, which we should. Not on purpose, but that I, you know, was a personal trainer, taught group classes, and managed clubs for years, and so that was the gig. I was a personal trainer. And then our family has moved a lot and ended up moving, and my clients didn't want to lose me, which was amazing. And so I thought, well, we could try Skyping, and it worked. I mean, I had a full Skype roster during the week, and I had kids, you know, I was pregnant with the second, and like, it worked. And then as that transition, it was like, it was this evolution to M&K that nobody planned at all. But it ended up working. So that is really fun. I forget about that. Oh, goodness. Cool. Yeah. So you came to M&K because we had an acting class together, and then I trained you, and then you made the transition to M&K because you were like, okay, I wasn't taking private clients anymore, so we could focus on launching this. But you stuck around for 3 years.
Yeah.
So
I did.
Why?
I liked it because when you're doing things like P90X or some of this other crazy stuff that's out there, like, you know, like I see people at work come from CrossFit and they got like blue tape all over the place and stuff like that because they've injured themselves or whatever. I really like M&K simply because it's not so stressful to my body, and yet I'm still seeing changes, which was a whole new concept that I was not prepared for, because I was always of the mindset you got to go run for like 5 miles and you got to do all this, you got to do that to really be fit. Like, that's the way you're supposed to do it. And, you know, Pilates kind of changed my perspective on fitness.
Because you started to get results you hadn't gotten
right.
before.
I had plateaued, but that's the problem between the stress of trying to be that perfect look that they're looking for camera, and then all this workouts. It was like I was adding stress to my body, and it was plateauing, and it wasn't growing and developing, because a lot of the workouts, even though they're different, like P90X prides itself on like body shock and being different, but it was still strenuous to my body, and Pilates adds so much difference without the stress, and then it encourages you to really stretch your body. Also, like, that's as important, and the rest is so important, and like it's a holistic approach to fitness.
And that's kind of the funky, like, calling cards. People go 30 minutes. Is that really enough? And it's like, yes, because it gives you permission to go in increments And I think this is what I love to teach, is that like workouts, and there's only 3 ranges of body motion, right? I mean, and like you said, when you start to make your own workouts, you repeat things and you have things that you like, and,
Right.
and it's hard to template yourself with variation. So variation and changing the things so your body's constantly learning and constantly reacting is really important. But when you work with a DVD, and sometimes some trainers don't have as much to pull from, so they get repetitive in their work. I'm sure you've seen it, you know, that like you get repetitive in your work, and that you end up doing the same things for really long periods of time, and you're like, why is nothing changing? And so less is the new more is what I love to share with people, is that you get like so much more out of your body, and I mean like literal results, like more results by doing less. So everything I teach is 30 minutes. But there is a lot of variation, a lot of transition, a lot of surprise, or what they call body shock, you know, happening in our workouts. But at this really calm, sneaky, we always say it's like the, you know, ninja format of fitness, because you don't know what's going, you go, oh, I can't possibly be doing anything. And then
And then the next day you're like super sore deep inside.
Right? You're like, I didn't know I had those. Those are amazing.
Yeah, and it like lasts longer. I
Yeah.
noticed the fitness that you do when you, because with P90X, if you stop for a week, it's like your body goes right back to where it originally started. With Pilates, it's like it changes because it's deeply into ingrained. Even if I don't do it, like if I miss a week of Pilates, I still see like muscle definition in places. So it's
For the long haul, right? Yes. Less and more. We love that. Okay, so why, again, like with your background, like why does Matt & Kitchen work for you right now?
So right now it's perfect. Back to the baby. It's always about the baby, right? Because as much as I love going to the gym, but it takes a lot of stars to align for me to be able to get to the gym. Between traffic, getting there, the time it takes to be there, the whole stuff of going to the locker room, just the whole thing. A lot of stars have to align for me to be able to go and do that and actually enjoy it. So with M&K, I can 30 minutes is perfect. The baby naps for 30 minutes or longer, ideally. And so I can fit it in during a nap. I usually do it during her first nap, because then I've got my Pilates done for the day early on, which is kind of helpful. But I can do it when she's entertaining herself too, and I don't have to get in the car. I mean, just traveling somewhere takes so much time. The fact that I can do 30 minutes of a solid workout while she's sleeping or entertaining herself, and I'm done, is just, it's just fantastic. It's so stressless, which is huge. And the fact that the other thing that's really big for me is that I'll break a sweat, but I don't get crazy sweaty. And that's huge, because I really don't have time to take, you know, the shower thing when you have a new baby is, you know, touch and go. But
It's so true.
it is, and it's like I just don't have time. She doesn't like me sweaty, so which I know sounds weird. I've heard a lot of babies like the sweat, the salt, and she really doesn't. So it's harder for me to feed her if I'm sweaty. So the fact that I can break a sweat and get warm, but not be so sweaty that it's going to change my whole schedule for the day, is huge. Because the fewer things that I have to do to get a workout, the better it's going to be for me. For the whole family. It's not even just me.
And the more consistent you can keep to it.
The more consistent I can keep to it. The fact that I can just put her in her crib for her first nap and go right into the room outside and do my Pilates session is like perfect.
And before you get to, I thought this was a really interesting point, because it has been brought up before, but you said it and I was like something brand new, that it's quiet. So
It is.
you don't have to worry about like jumping or waking her up, or like it being shocking crazy music.
Right. There's no music, I don't have to open the garage. I don't have to do anything that requires some type of noise or grunting or whatever it may be. It's a quiet thing. I don't interrupt her. My husband works from home. I don't interrupt him.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, he works from home, and so it works for everybody.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sarah, you know, we know that it works for you now, because like you knew me, like we trained together, and like that, you know, dialogue worked, but then you were seeing changes and you really liked the format. So it's been 3 years online. What need does it fill for you?
I think the need that it fills is, you know, we talked about earlier that when you're an actor, for example, you have to look a certain way and you have to be perfect in front of the camera and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes it's like stupid, unattainable kind of perfection that they ask. I mean, you know this better than I do. But it's like, it makes you feel like this big, like an inch big sometimes when you don't align with that, because everyone's body's differently. And I think the need that it gave me was feeling like I can be myself. I don't have to be the standard, I can just be me. And the moment when I started accepting myself, my flaws and all, and feeling like I'm beautiful with my flaws and everything, like that's when my body actually started to change and becoming what I wanted. And it's ironic because, sorry.
No, but that's totally what it's all about. Like, yeah, because, okay, so we kind of get into this no matter what. That, I'll just say it. I mean, this is one of my soapboxes, is that calling bullshit on the fitness industry, you know, and coming from an acting background where you're in front of the camera, or what you look like is how you either get an audition or how you book something, it takes a toll on you, especially as a female. Yes. I mean, I know that the men go through it too, but as a female, you're just never enough. No. You know, and physically, and things that you can't fix. And so on that side of the industry, we start to go, okay, we're trying to be fit, like we're trying to be, you know, and for health, but we're trying to get this external. When the pictures that you look at, you know, for the fitness industry, unfortunately, like, you know, the age of them is very different. I mean, we're in our 30s now, and I'm closer to 40. So this changes. Right. You know, skin changes. I've had 2 children. That really changes some things. But it can still be great. I think when I quit looking at those pictures of perfection and started just getting connected internally, which is the kind of work we were talking about, that like we're working on alignment, we're working on our muscle structure and our bone structure, and that leads to physical results, but to quit aiming at the physical results, because those pictures that you see are either dehydrated bodies, unfortunately, an age range that we're just not anymore, and that may not be realistic to compare to, okay? They may have had surgical enhancements or adjustments, and again, if that works for you, that's totally fine, but then you have to go, that's not something I can compare to because I'm not having that done. And then, you know, this concept of airbrushing, that I think eventually, personally, I can say this. I didn't even know what I was looking at anymore to compare myself to. So I'd had 2 babies and the skin changes and like it hangs different and sits different. Now I like the high-waisted jeans and the wide brim on my leggings because they're skin. It's not fat, it's not, you know, and capacity-wise, I'm still strong and flexible, and I can do way more now than I could in my 20s, honestly. But this concept, you know, we're visual learners. We take in 83% of our information via eyesight, visually. So we're looking at bodies and we're looking to see, like, I'm trying to better myself. What should I strive for? Right. But as a trainer, knowing that you can't strive for this, you should set goals and you should have wants. But that when you strive for that, you miss the process to it. Right. And so when you get ingrained in the process of just getting on the mat, and I talk about that it's a practice, if you just keep coming back and worrying about what it feels like and what your body's capable of doing, the crazy thing is those goals and the things that you want start to happen without freaking out and stressing out about it.
Yeah, I noticed when I happily retired, and I just let myself be, that's when my style changes, and ironically, I'm in better shape now.
Right.
I'm trying to do all that crazy stuff.
Well, that's what I was I was hoping you were going to say, because, you know, like, again, that, like, now that you calm down and back out of it, and then you were like, well, this is what I was striving for, like, feeling knitted and empowered and strong and healthy and fit and capable without being unhealthy, the best version of your body. Right. Because every body is different, bone structure and setup and all of that. So that's, you know, interesting. And, you know, for you, I mean, it works right now because of your setup and because, you know, you've got baby at home and you need somebody to take care of you even for 30 minutes because you're taking care of her.
Yeah, it helps to have you kind of direct me into what to do. And another big thing for me is the alignment stuff. Yeah. Because, you know, with the baby, I'm always out of alignment.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that I know I need to work on, but if someone's not telling me what to do, I'm just not going to do it. It's boring for me. But if I'm watching you and you're instructing me how to get in there and align myself, then the alignment work is going to happen.
I think this is huge for new mothers, especially, but mommies in general, or anybody who works with kids, because you're constantly down here, or you're constantly holding.
Like this
and in the hip thing.
The hip thing and the lower back is just unreal.
Yeah. Every time the boys would go through a growth spurt, and you have nieces and nephews, like you know that like as they get bigger, your body, you're carrying something that's heavier, and it will shift your whole structure.
Totally.
So yeah, I'm clearly an advocate for the new mommies on the mat because of the if nothing else, like
so huge.
The shoulder and the back and the hip stuff.
Absolutely.
Which I think is a big deal. And I think we kind of talked about, like, you know, M&K, again, it tends to be the less is more. Like, it feels like you're doing way less but getting way more results out of it.
Yeah.
So, like, what is it? Because you have been with me since the beginning, and there's been evolutions of it, but it's always me teaching.
Yeah.
Like, what, I guess the biggest thing, has it changed in your perspective of fitness or wellness or lifestyle for you?
Well, I think because before it's like, you know, I look at my parents sometimes, they get all these weird gadgets, like that thing you stand on and it's supposed to jiggle you. And like some crazy kind of fitness machine or some fancy, like over expensive pedometer or something ridiculous that they're selling right now. It's like, in reality, all you have to do is eat right and get on the mat 4 times a week or more, and you're good. Like, you don't have to worry about the rest of the stuff. It's like, save your money.
Yeah.
That's always been my thing. Like,
keep it simple, right?
Yeah. Totally. And then it's only, I mean, you did Supermom School, so you came in, like, from the food perspective, but focused on kids and moms. And now you've been, like, on the mat for about a month, and it's maybe enough time, maybe not. Has it shifted any of your thought processes, you know, about fitness and wellness? And it doesn't have had to, but curious.
I mean, for me, it's about being with a group that has the same kind of focus that I have. Because being in the fitness industry for so long, it's always about, you know, how much are you lifting? What's your new PR? And it's always in a friendly way, but it's still there. And sometimes you don't want to be competing. You don't want to be making a PR. You just are setting a PR. You just want to be. And so it's nice for me to have a group of people who are also doing that, where, you know, just drinking more water is a victory. You know, simple things like that, because to me that is important. You don't need to go from 0 to rocket ship overnight. Like, that's just not the way it works. And so it's nice to find a group of like-minded people who are just focused on, you know, feeling comfortable with yourself and being happy with the small victories, because small victories are still victories.
Yeah,
That's true.
I think that's great, because I just love to hear it, because everybody has such a different perspective on it, but it comes from different places.
Right.
And like, we have lots of people with autoimmune disorders, lots of people who come to me with injuries because accessibility for other things just isn't there, and I'm willing to talk them through it, or it's gentle enough that they can do most of it. And then super fit bodies, like completely capable, come to the mat for other reasons, because they get nourished and taken care of, and everybody needs a teacher, and everybody needs good voices in their life. That was really why I started teaching, coming from an acting and dance background, was that honestly and selfishly, I had heard so many mean and nasty things about myself and body in auditions as feedback that I just wanted to say nice things to people. I did, and then I realized that I was like, oh, I'm saying nice things to people because I want people to say nice things to me, but not fake ones.
Right.
You know,
right.
like, but most people don't want to be a fitness professional. They really don't. They want to be more fit, they want to be healthy, they want to be present for their families and for themselves and for their careers and for their, you know, fun. But they don't actually want to spend all that much time doing fitness. And I always say, like, being a fitness guru is my shtick. Like, that is my journey and my path. I didn't know that was going to be it. But it doesn't have to be everybody's. And then you get into this concept of, well, I should be healthy, but I don't want to spend an hour to 2 hours doing it. And so even if it's a short workout, you've gotten in the car, you've driven somewhere, you've done your workout, then you've got to shower or go home or back to work. It becomes very complicated. And then people just go, I'm not even doing it.
Yeah.
Because
it's too hard.
It's too hard.
It's too much. It becomes overwhelming and it becomes a task and a chore instead of something. People forget that it's actually quality time with yourself. That's what they forget, and that's why it's never it's never a priority. You know, everything else is a priority. And I always try to remind people, like, you working out isn't being selfish. It's the only time you have for yourself. Like, it's the only time. You're not punishing yourself. You're not trying to do this to yourself. All it is quality time with yourself. And
people always say, oh, I like to go running, or I like to do like these crazy classes because I like the way it feels after they're finished with that kind of workout. But you can get that kind of workout 30 minutes on the mat.
Yeah.
Like that same type
and
of
feel
feeling.
good through the workout.
Yeah.
Actually, like, enjoy the workout.
Yeah.
You know.
And again, and this is, where it becomes, a little like quantitative and qualitative. I used to run. I still run. I run sprints, here few and far between. But it's always about why you're doing the things that you're doing. It's not that you should never run or you should never do CrossFit or you should never, because I'm not going to use those kinds of words. But you need to be empowered in them. They should always make you feel better when you're done. They should not lead to injury or chronic injury down the road, because that's literally not the point of being fit and healthy, is to be nursing injuries as you go. And that you need to go, what do I need? What makes me feel good? And what is working? Because if you're not getting the results, then it's not working. Right. So again, like, I do focus on the small wins of getting hydrated, getting more water in, choosing more whole, real foods, and just getting to the mat. Like, even if you don't complete a full 30-minute workout, I'm going to say this, at least you got here and you started. Because I'm going to make this, little analogy metaphor next, is that it is like the puppy that you keep putting, to sit, to train, is that the more often, that you're on the mat, the more often you'll come back to it. So even if you just start with a few minutes of it, you were there, you set the pattern, and the next time you'll be here for longer. And most of the time when you go, I'm just going to go and do 5 minutes of it, she said that was okay. Yeah. Past the 5-minute mark, you go, well, I feel okay.
Might as well keep going.
I'll keep going, and I can stop in 5. And then you go, well, I'm already 10 minutes into it, might as well do the rest of it.
It's like 20 minutes more.
Right? And so you build your own patterns rather than throwing it all away, because it gets too complicated. And, I can get on my next little soapbox, I got a pile of them back here, that, we are a country in crisis with our health, but I do feel like people get so overwhelmed with what workout to do, how do I get there?
Oh, which diet? I mean, there's so many.
Right.
I just don't even know.
That it gets so overwhelming that you go, I just can't even be bothered. And I get that, because life is challenging. So I brought Sarah and Elizabeth in to share with you their different life challenges and where they come from and why they get on the mat and why this works for them. And they were willing to share that because I think they know at this point that it's a really powerful tool, and there's a lot of people out there who aren't doing something, and that this is a friendly version, but really smart and will still get you the fitness results. It just goes about it a little bit differently. So thank you for getting on the mat with me today. And we will see you next time.